All consumers of luxury items rightfully demand that the products they are purchasing are made to an expected level of quality, and modern-day action figure collectors are no exception. In the current climate of global shipping issues, record inflation and increasing gas prices, those of us that choose to spend a portion of our hard-earned wages on plastic action figures are well aware of the sacrifice we are making to obtain these luxury items, and as such we expect to receive the exact item that we purchased and have said item manufactured to the expected quality. Yet very few manufacturing processes are entirely foolproof, and from time to time quality issues will reach the consumer. Quality control is a process through which a business seeks to ensure that product quality is maintained or improved. Quality control requires the manufacturing company to create benchmarks for product quality and to ensure that suitable quality control testing is completed. In extreme cases, when the issue impacts the health and safety of the consumer, it can certainly be catastrophic for the manufacturer's business and reputation. Yet even less severe examples can cause customers to be dissatisfied, and if the issue reappears on other products, or worse still, if these issues aren't addressed, over time this can be just as damaging to the manufacturer's business as the extreme cases. While today's collectors are quick to complain, and I'm guilty of that too, there are things that toy manufacturers can do to appease their customers. Stay tuned.
Come with me, toy fans.
Hey toy fans, my name is Tony and welcome back to the Analog Toys YouTube channel. In recent years, Hasbro's action figure releases have been plagued with quality control issues, and these defects seem to permeate across more brands and even more products as each month passes. Examples of these quality control issues on the G.I. Joe Classified series include broken legs on Outback, discoloured elbows on Bazooka, bung arms on Zorana, and busted hips on the Cobra Bats. Hasbro's new Dungeons & Dragons figures had several issues, particularly the easily broken hands on the Hank figure. Their vintage collection Boba Fett may as well have been called Humpty Dumpty, and every Marvel Legends collector remembers the debacle that was the lack of ratcheted knees on the HasLab Sentinel. So what about the HasLab Sky Striker, a premium item that cost $229 and one that consumers had to wait over a year to get in their hands? Well, it's riddled with QC issues. On many examples of this toy, the landing gear doesn't fully retract. The wings clip on in such a loose fashion that they look like they have cracks in them. The figure's faces are gormless, Scarlet's crossbow doesn't have a handle so she can't even hold it, and Cobra Commander comes with two right arms. Let me say that one more time. Cobra Commander comes with two right arms, and this is on a premium item that costs over $220. This level of ineptitude is totally unacceptable, but Hasbro's biggest sin is that they never, ever address these issues with the customer. This is the closest we've ever come to an apology.
Strongly, nice and clicky. Clicky.
Nice and clicky? The condescension on display here is appalling. Now before anyone hastily jumps into the comments calling me a Valaverse shill and spouting about quality control issues with Action Force figures, let's address this. There's no denying that Valaverse had a few quality control issues during their fledgling year. And the neck-bearded Hasbro apologists who are members of cesspits like the Piss Tank Forum have been screaming at the keyboards in their mum's basement for the last 12 months about why Valaverse is trash because their figures break, but they've never had the balls to admit the same flaws in their beloved G.I. Joe Classified line. Perhaps that's because they are exactly what Hasbro thinks they are.
Luis believes he's Snake Eyes.
Ooh, ow, 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 okay.
These sad, pathetic, gaslit individuals take great pleasure in the misfortune of an independent startup company that doesn't have anything close to the resources available to a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Hasbro, when in reality, Valaverse is the benchmark for customer service in the action figure collecting community. When some of their Series 1 figures arrived with tight joints, they posted a YouTube video addressing the issue, and included an instruction leaflet in all shipments with tips on how to heat up the figures when they were first removed from the packaging. And they were definitely not the first action figure manufacturer to do this. When some of the Series 2 Scarab figures experienced a plastic defect that caused some of the hip joints to break, Valaverse did not shy away from the problem.
This is a mold defect, like this is a plastic defect. So I right away got with the factory and I was like, what is going on here? I don't want any more issues. Why is this happening? And we addressed it right away. Figured out the percentage of what was happening. We tested a ton of samples.
They made social media posts and sent out a newsletter informing customers of the problem and what to do about it. They got their factory to produce several thousand replacement parts, they repaired their entire existing stock of figures, and informed customers of what to do if they had one of the small percentage of orders that experienced breakage.
I sent out a newsletter about that. I think I did a YouTube video about that, letting people know, listen, this is the issue with the Scarabs. If you get one, don't worry. We'll send you the hip assembly for you to replace. Or if you want to send your figure in, we'll replace the hips itself. We'll send the figure back to you.
And with the recent release of their all-female wave of Series 3 figures, they've identified another quality control issue, and they're tackling this head on. In less than 1% of cases, an air bubble is getting into the ankle joint mould, causing an air cavity which in turn weakens the joint. Now I'm going to read directly from Valaverse's social media post. Of the thousands of orders we've sent out, less than 30 occurrences have happened. While it is far less than 1% occurrence rate, we've still notified the factory to make any improvements necessary. Any customer that experiences this issue, don't worry, we've got you covered. Just send an email to orders@valaverse.com and we'll get a replacement to you. Be sure to include your order number in the message along with an image of the issue. If you've ordered from a third party, not to worry, we'll help you out too. Now, while all of us would much prefer if these issues didn't arise in the first place, you can't deny that this is next level customer service, even helping out collectors who purchase their figures through a third party retailer. Now let's take a look at how Hasbro handles these issues. Recently, the co-host of 3POA's Loose But Complete show purchased an X-Men Storm figure that had 2 left hands.
The 90s X-Men cartoon Storm that I ordered came with 2 left hands. Was missing a right hand. So I emailed customer service, and they emailed me back with a list that they sent me this quest that I have to complete. That essentially they want all the information I can possibly give them, besides my mother's social security number, in order for them to most likely tell me that they don't have a replacement.
Or what about when Pixel Dan had not 1 but 2 Hasbro Dungeons & Dragons Hank figures break on him straight out of the package, even after the second one was heated up? They sent 2 replacement figures, Billy and Diana, 2 figures he did not need. Hasbro has not publicly acknowledged any of these quality control issues, and their feeble attempts at customer compensation have fallen entirely flat. This is a company that has introduced multiple price increases in the last 18 months. They make their fans awkwardly announce their pronouns before being allowed to ask questions at a convention, while making selfie series commercials that ridicule the very fan base they're trying to sell to. They have ignored customers' pleas to not use plastic-free packaging in a weak play to appear environmentally friendly and get themselves voted as one of the most just companies in America. And less than 2 weeks later, they announced that they are laying off over 1,000 people in a bid to increase their profit margin. How can Hasbro be one of the most just companies in America when they don't even think twice about making 1,000 people unemployed just to make a few extra bucks? These employees are creative, talented people with families, mortgages and responsibilities, and the ripple effect of these 1,000 layoffs will impact the lives of tens of thousands of Americans. Yet even after these cutthroat acts, they still don't have the balls to admit their mistakes and correct them. Something that I learnt very early on in life is when you fuck up, you fucking own it, because that's the only way you'll ever gain respect. So I cannot and will not respect a corporation that does not respect the very customers they rely on to keep their business profitable. Even some of the former creative geniuses behind the 1980s G.I. Joe line no longer have any love for the company that they were once so proud to work for. Now say what you like about Bobby Valor. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, especially all you snowflakes out there. But Bobby does genuinely care about Action Force customers, and he does everything he can to ensure that they have the best possible experience with their Valaverse product. Hasbro wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire, but if that is the hill that you've decided to die on defending their honour, you can waste your time fighting that battle in this comment section. But you're much better off running away to your cesspit private Facebook groups and pond scum forums and spouting your diatribe there, because in the real world,
nobody cares what you think.
Business was booming for Hasbro during the pandemic, so they continued to promise their shareholders more and more projected profit. So when the downturn arrived, they reduced the production cost of their action figure packaging and pretended it was because they cared about the environment. They jacked up their prices in a failed play to claw back their profit shortfall, and when that failed, they blamed the consumer for being increasingly price sensitive. Here's an idea though. Instead of trying to rip us off with overpriced items, how about you offer us action figure products at a reasonable cost? That way you'd grow your profit by increasing sales rather than increasing the profit margin on the individual units. Hasbro's latest profit-making move is to lay off 15% of their global workforce, and I really hope these cuts don't come from the quality control department, because Christ knows they need more people in that area and not less. These days, Hasbro's loyalty lies with its shareholders and not with its customers. But if they switch this focus, they could return their business to a competitive, industry-leading position without having to make 1,000 people unemployed. Treat your customers right and they will treat you with loyalty. Focus on fixing your quality control problems, and when quality issues do reach the consumer, you must acknowledge it and do something about it. Give your customers the confidence that when they spend their hard-earned money on your product and issues arise, you will look after them properly. That is how you build brand loyalty. Right now, Hasbro is out of quality control, and this is how you turn your customers away.